the outcome is all that matters to me.
Yeah. Done is better than perfect in many ways. And maybe that mentality also helps you with the music.
I don't have the time or resources to become the artist and the skilled professional mix engineer that you and your team are. So the fact that I can learn how to capture great product that you can work with, and that's all we need to do, it's the best. I don't know.
I love the fact how you can now leverage the audio skills that you acquired and the passion that you've had all these years, and you can use that for your business, and it all comes together in such a nice, beautiful, rewarding way. This is amazing. And it's not at all about becoming a rock star. Sometimes it's just about self-actualization.
I feel completely liberated to pursue this artistic and personally rewarding hobby completely.
This is the Self-Recording Band Podcast, the show where we help you make exciting records on your own, wherever you are, DIY style. Let's go.
We're here today with one of our Self-Recording Syndicate members, Jason W. Taylor. He is a self-recording artist based in Texas, USA. I hope I'm correct here, but please correct me if I'm not. Who just released his first couple of songs under the artist name Aught Sicks. And I have helped him remotely during the production phase and with things like setting up his home studio. And then I mixed the songs for Jason, which was super exciting. It was a fun collaboration, and I'm really stoked about the results too. One thing I want to get to in this episode also is the fact that Jason is a very busy entrepreneur. So he has limited time available to work on his music, which I think just goes to show that you can still do it and realize your dreams, even if you have a lot on your plate. Jason is a great example of that, and I'm looking forward to talking more about that as well. And not too long ago, I had the honor of being a guest on Jason's podcast, We Code You Launch. And now it's the other way around, and it's time to tell Jason's story on our podcast. So I'm very excited. Without further ado, Jason W. Taylor, aka Aught Sicks, welcome to the podcast. How are you, Jason?
Thank you, Benny. I'm great, and nice to be here with you, Manel.
Awesome. Yeah, so glad you took the time. For those of you who already listened to the podcast, you know this. If you're new to this, I am Benedict Hein. I'm a mixing engineer. I run a mixing studio here in the Bavarian Forest, Germany. Manel is a music producer from Spain. He's my friend and co-host. I always do these podcasts with him. So glad to have you, Manel. And if you are, producing your own music from your home studio, from your jam space, you are in the right place. This is the podcast where we help you do this and get exciting sounding results that way. And yeah, today we have one great example of this here on the show. And this is special in many ways. First of all, I just like working with Jason. It's just a lot of fun working on his music, chatting with him about stuff. But then also, Jason, you do a couple of things that the other students in our program don't do, which is, for example, like karaoke versions of your songs that you then present on stage on your business events and stuff. So this is really, really exciting. And I want to talk about all of this. So maybe give people a quick rundown of who you are, what you do, what kind of music you make, and all of that.
Well, first of all, I think it's important to understand I'm 53 years old, and I picked up my music hobby again after raising children and not having any time or room for it in my house. And about the time they were making their way out, the pandemic happened. And on my first walk around the neighborhood, where we couldn't even go to the gym, and the only thing you could do was walk around the neighborhood, I discovered your podcast because I thought surely by now there's someone out there that there's a community, maybe there's a podcast that helps people record in their house. This is something I had already done 20 years earlier. So that's how I found you. And I was already like, it's time for me to prove to myself that I really am pretty good at music. It's something that I kind of knew, but had never really proved it to myself or anybody else in my friends and family network to the extent that I was happy with it. So that's why I found you guys. Now, at the same time, I'm the founder of this thing called Code Launch, which is a technology startup competition that at the end of the competition, the winners of it get to go on our live show experience, which travels around currently North America and South America, and maybe soon Europe or Asia. And it's a show. It has, it's a big production. It's usually in a rock venue, a venue that has lighting, stage, music, a crew. We come in, our executive crew is on comms with their crew. We have a whole big production, and the startups are like the star, but it's very entertaining. We call it venturetainment. So it's something that we hope will end up on Netflix or Hulu or streaming platforms soon, telling the stories of the founders and how hard it is to get a technology startup product built and launched, get it traction, get it funded, make it successful. And we try to help them. So I actually never thought at that moment that I was going to ever leverage what I would learn from you and the experience that I would get out of being part of the self-recording band. I never thought it would ever end up in Code Launch. That actually only took root in the last 8 months, since I had already crossed the bridge 1 or 2 times with you on just my regular rock music. So I've done this amazing thing. I have this fun rock music that's just because I like it, and it's fun, and it's a hobby, and it's wonderful, it's rewarding, and boy is it rewarding. And and then I was like, well, why not just take that and put some of our custom show music together here in the studio that you helped me build? Because when I first listened to the podcast, I was at ground zero. I didn't have any, I had some instruments, but I had no mics, no setup, no DAW machine, no DAW licenses. I didn't have anything. So from the ground up, I'm a self-recording band product here.
Yeah. That's so exciting. But you said you started from ground zero, but you also said you've done it 20 years ago. So how did you do it back then? And what was the band and like all that? What's the background there?
Well, like anybody that ends up in music, they figure it out kind of in their teenage years. I think almost all the time that they have a talent or an affinity for music. And that happened to me. So that I got to college, but I never was willing to like, chuck it. It's me or music. That's it. I'm just going to go for it. I had an opportunity to go to college, so I did. And in college, I was busy doing all the things college kids do. But inevitably, I met some other college kids that were there with me that were also into music. So, of course, we put together little bands in bedrooms and garages and tried to put together music that was good enough that we could go play parties. So we did that a little bit, but we never had time to really write or rehearse. So we were just doing covers and having fun. And then graduation, and we all just went different directions. Mm-hmm. Well, I ended up in Dallas, Texas with my guitarist, who also ended up in Dallas, Texas, and we had both grown up in Oklahoma. So we put together our little band and tried to do this on our own. And we had the internet. It was 1999, but there weren't podcasts. There was no YouTube. It was super text based, not video based. And we used Usenet, NNTP a great deal, which is probably something people in the audience are not going to even know what that is. Just think it was a predecessor to Reddit, pretty close to. And there was a group on there called Rec Audio Pro, and it was full of actual professionals and the people like me that were just wannabes learning. And we bought tons of used stuff off eBay. We built a little bedroom studio, and we put together a really rough little rock album. We actually had it printed on CDs. We licensed Orchard to put it in stores. And there it sat, unmarketed, and besides anybody I ever handed it to, you wouldn't know about it. Because right at the end of the record, wife is pregnant, first child. Dad, you gotta sell that stuff. That's the baby room.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
So I thought, okay, well, I did it. I proved it to myself. This rock album is really fun. My friends seem to like it. We go to parties and they play my songs just for fun. That'll check this box for life for now. And then 20 years or more, 22 or 23 years goes by. And yeah, so back at it again. The kids are growing up off to college, plenty of room for a music studio and a little more money.
Yeah. Man, that's so exciting that you never, that dream just, kind of, it just never went away, and you just were patient and you were waiting for like more than 2 decades, and then you're doing it again. So that's really exciting. I mean, not everyone, starts over again, and like, I'm wondering, was there no music at all in the meantime? Like, did you not play at all? Or did you play the guitar at home at least? Or did you do something music related? Or was it 20 years of not doing anything in that regard?
Well, it was so difficult that I literally had to step away for the first year, baby and stuff.
Yeah.
But about a year after the first record was done, it started going in my head again. And I started thinking about all the things I could have done better, all the times I rushed it just because I wanted it to be done, all the knowledge I really didn't know yet that I still knew could make the outcome so much more polished. And I got, I was really into music, so I was always listening to new music. New favorite bands would come along, and I broke down every song that I ever liked after I produced a record in a totally different way. I would listen to the engineering, the tracking, the vocals, where they doubled, where they harmonized with a double, where they left and right, how many guitars is that? Why does that sound good with, and so when I started listening to music that way, I was on a forever hamster wheel of ideas that would just happen. And I would tell myself, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this again someday. And then I started telling everybody else about it.
Oh yeah, that's powerful.
Like, I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to do it way better. You'll see. So my friends have heard that hamster wheel come out of my mouth for the last 20 years too. And almost like I told everybody over and over just so that I would have to do it. I wouldn't have any choice, because otherwise they would say, you're full of shit. You're never going to do it. And so I put together everything in here to conquer this beast. And boy, the outcome is so much higher than I really hoped. I was really afraid that I was talking myself into doing something that I never was really going to be able to do.
Yeah. No, you did. You did a fantastic job there, because like you said, you started from zero basically again, and you learned how to program drums, how to record your guitars, how to record the bass, how to record the vocals, and you built the studio and all of that, and you do everything. It's all you. Like everything you hear on these songs, it's all you, which is quite,
It is all me, except for all the complicated guitar solos are my college bro.
Oh, all right.
Who lives now in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we have collaborated entirely over the web and a few telephone calls. And I just put a spot in the song where he needs to do his magic. And he makes me vocalize a track that does a little thing about like I would like it to sound. And then he sends back something that's sometimes pretty close and sometimes really close and sometimes something new. And he sends it all dry, and I put totally new sound on it, reamping it. And it works out great. It's surprisingly easy. I thought that part was going to be so hard that it might not be realistic. It's really easy. It's unbelievably easy to collaborate with people, just if they know the basics of, you give me one big file that fits right into the spot.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the main difference between 99 and now is that you're not on dial-up internet anymore, and like you don't have to get off the phone to use the internet, and you can actually send files to one another. So yeah.
And to answer your question, I did have instruments the whole time, and I was always a dabbler on guitar. Like I just would get out power chords and riff and put 3 notes together I thought sounded cool and imagine the song in my head a little bit, and then if I liked it a lot, I would get a voice recorder, or now a phone with a voice recorder app out, and I would actually record it. And I had this library of like 50 riffs and little voice notes about my idea for it that I can use. And I thought, I've got to capture these ideas because I'm going to need them when the time comes. And so I have all these ideas. But the truth is, Benny, in these first two songs, I didn't use any of them.
Really?
Yes,
I was about to ask, because but my first question would have been, have you captured any of the ideas and built this library, which you already answered. And then I thought, well, okay, that explains why you were able to go so quickly from building the studio to working on the first song, because the idea was probably already there, I thought, but it sounds like it was not like that.
No, I just, there's a funny thing. I went through about a year of acquiring equipment, plugging it in, learning the DAW, and I got to a point where I was like, buddy, it's time to lay down some music. It's not time to decide if you want to learn another feature and how it works in Cubase. It's time to create. And that, I remember that I kind of got like, oh my God, I have to actually create now. I have to do the thing that I spent all this money and time, and now I have to do the thing. And I got up here and on like a Saturday morning, I just started messing around like I always did until I found I heard a little vibe on a song and just started rolling with it. So the first two songs are completely, they were just kind of like out of thin air on the day that I sat down to create, and I just kept going with them until they were done.
Wow.
Which is very reassuring to me.
Absolutely. And what about all the other ideas that you've captured over the years? Will they ever turn into songs, or are you just going to keep capturing new things because you're a different writer now, different artist?
They would all fit right down Aught Sicks alley. They sound similar. They're rock songs with simple rhythmic patterns that will be fun to record. I'm sure I will eventually convert some of that into published content, but I may not have to. And I have 4 or 5 ideas of what the next song might be. One of them is really complex, and I'm trying to decide if I need to get a little more experience before I tackle it.
Yeah.
I have a little question here, which is that it seems like you recorded that first album like 20 years ago, you said, right? And then you did some sort of musical hibernation, and then you started again 20 years after that. So my question is, I mean, you've been playing guitar and doing things, you said also, and recording things, ideas, but how much has it changed from 20 years ago to right now? Like, did you notice lots of different things when it comes to recording music?
The sound and feel and the type of songs that I have written are very similar. I wanted to write songs that I like, that I think are cool. Even if they're not popular anymore, I don't care. But I also wanted, the professional outcome that the self-recording band offers. So I was fully invested in just creating my best product in the studio and then handing it to Benny and team to mix and do the final thing. But because of the knowledge, experience, the advancement in technology, the tools, the power of Cubase, and everything I've learned in the self-recording band, the outcome is completely different. It is like, one sounds like a home studio band recorded in a bedroom with who doesn't understand how to mic live drums, has technical problems in it, but you kind of overlook because everybody kind of likes the sound of an indie garage band, and you kind of expect it. It's part of that platform, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have left past that into what sounds like professional music. If there is anything wrong in the music that real audio engineers will hear, it is because I am always in a hurry and I do take shortcuts, and sometimes I decide, no, I'm just going to leave that little bit of imperfection in there because I don't care, because it sounds so amazing to me. I'm fully willing to leave a little bit of improvement in each song just to get it done and move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I might be wrong, but maybe that also comes from your startup background and all of that, where you also have to get things done and ship them eventually. You cannot do it forever, and like, you know, done is better than perfect in many ways. And maybe that mentality also helps you with the music. And I always preach this to the people that we work with as well, is like, of course, everyone wants it to be perfect, but the person who does like 10 songs that are not 100% perfect, maybe, what is perfect anyways in music, that person will make a lot more progress compared to a person spending the same time just working on one song trying to get it perfect. And so I think that's a great approach. And also, you said a couple of things that I want to unpack there. You changed the entire approach. Like, you went from trying to record live drums, which is super hard to do, to, because you are a drummer, right? You were playing drums in your band, yeah.
That's the main thing that I'm good at.
Exactly. So a lot of drummers have a hard time letting go of, you know, the real drums and them being the drummer and all that. And you just did it because you knew that the result is going to be better. And you switched from live drums to programming drums, learned how to do that. And then you also decided to let someone else do the mixing. And it's just a completely different approach. And that, I find that to be really interesting, because it's super effective. The outcome is really, really good. But I wonder if there was any point in time where you were like, I would actually prefer to play the real drums, and I actually would want to mix this myself. And it kind of feels weird to, you know, it's cool that we have this technology, but is it still like rock and roll? Is this still real? Like, did you ever have these thoughts that a lot of people have often when it comes to these things?
No. No, because I really do play the drums. So I have a digital kit. So once I get, like, I find the riff, I've got 3 chords going, and I got like a tune in my head, and then I got to change to like a high energy chorus. You know, I'm the king of scratch tracks. Scratch tracks are awesome. Everybody needs to use scratch tracks.
Yeah, it's true.
You just lay down something that's about as good as it would have been 20 years ago. A little off time, doesn't matter. Sit down at the drum set. Now it's playing. Loop it, 50 times. Over that time, play along with it in different ways. You'll hear the one, that's the one. And then you have this MIDI data, which is now routed through a library and sounds better than it would have if it was mic'd right here, or if it was this kit's built-in sounds, which are weak sauce compared to Room Sound 2 or any of the others.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a nice, this kit's over to my right. It was like, it's like the top of the line Roland V drums from 2015. So I started to feel this coming, and I bought that in 2015 to like brush up and reignite the skill level.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just go in and fix little errors in MIDI, and then you add things that are extra that maybe you weren't when you were. So no, I don't feel any. No, the outcome is all that matters to me.
Yeah.
People that hear it that kind of don't know that I have this passion and talent, they just know me for some other reason. They're like, "Is that you? That's not you. What is that, AI? You're using AI, aren't you?" And they think that literally I have just faked the whole thing.
That's awesome.
And so I'm pretty proud that there is a tiny bit of AI in both my songs, but it's for sound effects and things that I like. One of them is AI generated crowd noise at a bar. What do you want me to do? Go down to a bar and like record people and spend all that time and money? I don't have time for that.
No, it doesn't matter at all. And the other
Like,
one is a bell sound.
$15 in 15 minutes, I can generate this great background of a crowd at a bar that is copyright and license free. And yes, AI generated that. But there's no AI in my vocals, my guitars. If you don't consider MIDI AI, there's no AI in the drums.
No, it's all real recorded drums, and you played them, and you just used the sound. So that's totally.
And then most of all, somebody has to write the music and arrange it.
Yes.
And kind of that's, now that I've done this process, I've done the different roles, man, that is the most important part. So the fact that I've been able to pull that off and come up with 2 songs and now a third for the Code Launch show that people seem to like
Yeah.
that's all I need, man.
Yeah, and this is exactly why I asked this question, because in the beginning, when we were starting this platform, we were thinking about not even teaching the mixing part, because we knew it's hard enough for people to record properly and to arrange and write and be good musicians and all of that. Turns out everyone wants to, or most people want to mix, and then we expanded and did all that too. But I find it so interesting and really cool that you said, no, you know what, I can do a couple of things well. I want to learn this and do this properly, focus on that, focus on being a writer, a musician, a performer, and all of that, capture it all. But then I also know what I don't have the time to learn, or what other people maybe can do better. And then the result is all that matters. And I think that's impressive, because so many people are trying to do it all. Some people succeed doing that, but a lot of them also don't, just because it's super hard to be a mixer and an engineer and a producer and a writer and a drummer, a guitar player, or whatever. So I find that really impressive that you just focused on a couple things that you wanted to do really well and let other people do other things, and you got the result that you wanted. So, yeah.
Well, I think that you're right. That comes from my experience as an entrepreneur, and then myself, and then what we offer other entrepreneurs is education, and just 53 years of wisdom.
Yeah.
You can go try to build your own house from the ground up, and you can try to do the foundation and the frame and the finish out and the sheetrock and the roof and the windows and the plumbing and the electricity, and you can try, but it is going to take you a lot longer to get to the end than if you find tradespeople that are good at the things that they do, because they have mastered the art and skill of what they do.
Yeah.
And for me, to reach my goal, where my hobby is prolifically producing new music, now it's maybe it's kind of like professional hobby if I'm going to keep doing it for Code Launch, but
yeah.
There's no way to do that I don't have the time or resources to become the artist and the skilled professional mix engineer that you and your team are, Benny. And
yeah,
so the fact that I can learn how to capture great product that you can work with, and that's all we need to do, and then send it to you and then get it back, and it's the best. I don't know. Unless if I wanted to become a professional mix engineer and that's what I wanted to do, then I would be taking a different approach.
Of course.
But yeah, I am thrilled to be able to send off, the rough mix, and I've learned how to do that. That's a really complicated, careful part of the very end of the process. But so far, really surprised about the number of hey, you did this wrong, you got to redo this. Almost non-existent the first 3 songs.
Yeah. And this is what I wanted to ask you too, is you have mastered the kind of minimum effective dose sort of thing where, a lot of people are very, very active in the program because they just have a lot of time to do that. You are one of the people who you ask when you get stuck, when you have a question, you show up to a call every once in a while, but you also just don't have that much time, and you just batch, I think you're batching whatever tasks you have to do and spend a weekend or something to get something done. But you're really, really effective. I don't know how much time you actually spend on it, but it to me, it always looks like, well, he has limited time, but when he has a little bit of time, he gets the most out of it. And yes, there's sometimes something goes wrong or whatever. That's a normal part of the process. But I wonder how you do that, how you approach that, and how you got these songs done despite being, the Code Launch founder and doing all those things and only having a couple of weekends every once in a while to work on the music. How do you prioritize? How do you decide what to learn, what to focus on, what to just leave the way it is, even though it's not perfect? Tell me about that. And maybe you feel differently about this, but I feel like you're very effective.
Well, yeah. So this job I have, it requires a lot of travel. Sometimes it's travel on weekends we just got back from an on-location event in Toronto, Canada for Code Launch Canada 2025. We had to leave on a Saturday morning and we're gone until the next Saturday morning or afternoon. So that's 2 weekends completely shot, and then I also have, I'm engaged, getting married in Lake Garda, Italy in June 2026. So there's all kinds of stuff I should be spending my time with, playing who's going to be invited, what helping Amber figure out what she wants in the wedding and what she doesn't want. And all this is always going on. And then I have kids in college and they're always, Dad, I'm broke. I need help. Oh no, what am I going to do? I got to make rent. All of this is going on. And then I have to find time for this because I really care about it. And it's really rewarding to me.
Yeah.
So what I do is I look a few weekends in advance. I see one it's not Mother's Day. It's not Father's Day. It's not Easter or Christmas. It's nobody's birthday. It's not a code launch travel week. And I will block it. I will block like usually the Saturday. And I'll just tell my local usual suspects who will want, hey, let's go down to the pub and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm blocking this. I can't do any of the stuff we like to do together. Amber, go hang out with your family or your best friends. Have a girls' night. I will be here from noon until I fall down with exhaustion sometime at 2 or 3 in the morning. Yeah. Those are the best days. They're so fun. And I usually will make a giant leap forward in the song. And then it gets finished with little productive run upstairs for an hour, run upstairs for 30 minutes while she's not ready to leave yet. Run upstairs after dinner for an hour before we have to watch Netflix. Whatever it is, it gets finished in micro sessions. And, usually so far I would say for me to get a original song done, I need about 2 full heavy duty Saturday sessions. And that'll get 80% of it ready to go. And I'm getting faster. My second song was, I don't know, if the first song took 100 hours, the second one took 50. Something like that. Yeah. And the third one, which is show music, so it's a little different. Like it's not really meant to be art. It's supposed to be entertaining and part of the show. And it's the background. It's not really the thing. And it's not Aught Sicks. It's Code Launch, right? That took even less, like 25 hours. So I don't know. I feel like I'm getting faster and better at this, and I can't wait to, get a lot of work done, even though I don't have much time.
And Jason, when you manage to block a Saturday, how do you organize that in a particular way, or it's just let's see what happens?
Well, I mean, I use a super intricate professional calendar. I know Benedict does too. He's very detailed, planned out person, and he is a very, that's the way he executes as an entrepreneur and a business owner, and I do the same thing. So it'll be in my my phone calendar, my Outlook calendar is all one thing. It'll be blocked there. And so as we approach that Saturday, one of my friends, can we go do this? Can we go do the car show? Can we go play golf? Can we have a pool day? Amber will say, can we go on a dinner date with this couple? They want us to go out. It's their anniversary. No. Hit the brick. I'm going to the studio that day. I told you it's blocked. Bye.
Yeah, but I mean, once you are in the studio, do you have any sort of process? Like I would start with the guitar and then I'll do drums.
Yes. Yes. So I'm either going to go to the library of these little riffs and pull one out and try to start scratch tracking it, or I'm just going to mess around with and go toward a target of an idea. So I have some ideas of songs that have never been voice recorded, scratch tracks. One of them is like a kind of a rock anthem thing that's hard to explain, but it'll come out eventually. Yeah. And I'll just start playing with my guitar and
Mhm.
I'll pull up one of my basic favorite guitar rig settings, and once I feel like I have like the tempo and some structure to it, I will lay down a scratch track. And if it excites me, I will keep adding layers, and then I will go back and get rid of the scratch track and get things tight. And that's how my process works. And then I have to sit down at the drums and then put some bass in, and then I'll get the song to where it's kind of there, but it doesn't have any vocals yet, usually. And then I'll do the vocals, and then I'll go back and start replacing scratch with real and scratch vocal, and then harmony. I do all the doubling and the harmonies at the end. And then I fix little things that I didn't realize were wrong the whole time. Sometimes I had like a single bass note that was out of key that I couldn't hear until Benny heard it. And then I was like, oh, how did I hear this song 350 times before I sent it and not hear that one note was off key?
Yeah. That was an interesting approach too with the bass, because you decided to program the bass at some point, but then you found this workaround or kind of thing where you were, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you sang the bass line and then turned it to MIDI. And that is, I think, a really interesting approach that a lot of people could absolutely use. You can do audio to MIDI, and this works with all kinds of instruments, but it's a very smart thing to do, and quick also.
That is a secret weapon that is so productive. So I do have a really nice bass over there. Bass guitar is my least skill instrument. So I'll have a bass groove. I might come out of the gym one morning with a bass groove and feel like, oh, that would be a cool song. I could build around that. And then I'll try to grab that bass and I can't do it, or it's just really difficult. And what I discovered with some help from Benny and the community at Self-Recording Band is that there's a great feature in Cubase. You just walk up to the mic and hum your bass line as complicated and as fast as you want, as your mouth can make it, and then you convert it to MIDI notes. And then you can route that through a bass library, and all of a sudden you've got the beginnings of your bass line. It sounds like a professional played it on a bass guitar. So I have done that. I did it on my second song.
Yeah.
And I've been I have this now, all of a sudden I have this community of collaborators that want to come in here and help, and they want to do their own song, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Do
you have time for that?
They're like people that have never done it and they think they can, or they're people like me that used to do it, and now that, you know, I have proven that it's what the outcome potential is, they want to come in so bad. So I keep challenging them to write and prove to me that there's something that's worth my time in here with you.
That's the way, yeah.
And one of them is my friend Coach. And he always is sending me lyrics to songs. I'm like, that's great. Get your voice recorder out on your phone and hum the bass line and then send the lyrics. Because if I hear, and they match, if I hear something that I can build with, I can convert that to a real bass. He's yet to do it.
Yeah, it feels weird the first time you do it, but it's so productive. Yeah. So let's talk about your music actually for a second. I mean, you haven't even done that yet. So Aught Sicks is the band, but then it's also Code Launch is the other part of it. So if people want to check it out, I think you've released 1 or 2 songs under Aught Sicks.
2 songs under
Aught Sicks, right?
AUGHTSICKS.
Yes. So it's rock music. It sounds very energetic. It sounds authentic. It sounds gritty. It's like, so people might think after hearing all of this, everything's in the box in the computer and whatever. But like, listen to the songs. It's real. It sounds like rock and roll. It's like really, really cool. So this is the one thing. But then the other side of it is the Code Launch thing that you just did. And I'm so excited to hear that story, because you said to me that you need a karaoke version for this and you want to perform this on stage at one of your events. So that was last week, I think. How did that go? And just tell me about it all, the idea and how it went.
So yeah, Manel, your previous question. The answer is part of that. Is another answer to that question. You're asking me, how did I stay involved with music, that whole big gap that I have instruments that I discovered that I am a karaoke lush in 2008. And I started going to certain places that always had karaoke. I got to know the DJ. I got to the point where I was like, I have a stage name at karaoke. Like, I have so much fun at karaoke. And so that was the way I kind of like kept it going. So what happened at the Code Launch show is we wanted to start post-producing the live show experience as episodic content that we could market on YouTube. But we had taken the shortcut when we created it, and we had tons of commercial music live in the show. So we would let the startups choose any song they want as their walk-up song or introduction song. But that's not going to work for YouTube. You can't have commercial music and monetize a YouTube video. You can pay to use it at the event, which is affordable fees, like $500 a year. I can pay ASCAP to like play songs live at my events, but it's just for the people that are there. So our production company said, yeah, if you want to be able to do this, we have to get rid of all commercial music that you don't own a license to, or you don't have to pay special fees for. And I had just finished the first song and I was on the second one, and I went, I think I can pull something off here. I think I can do this. So what you don't know, Benny, is there's actually 3 songs. You've just done the one that's my keynote song.
All right.
The other 2 are just background music without vocals. It's like generic walk-up music and a few other sound effects and things that happen during the show, like the sound of war drums and the sound of when someone gets cut off because they took too long. I did all that stuff in the studio, and it's all part of the show now. And we rolled that out last Wednesday, 7 days ago in Toronto. And also with a new MC. We had a new host of the show, an MC. His name is Rajiv Nathan. He goes by the Startup Hype Man. And he also is a musician. He's a hip hop artist, and his hip hop artist name is Raj Nation. So check him out, RAJ Nation. He's really in the startup scene in the United States, and he's also a great MC. So we rolled all this out together, and what we did is we were trying to tighten the show up and make it more entertaining and engaging. So one of the things when we watched our show together is I used to do like a keynote speech. It would be about 10 minutes long, kind of thing that you would see on a TED Talks. But I never was that good at it, I didn't think, and there was no good place to put it because it would just interrupt the energy and the bang bang entertainment value of the show. So I sat down and I was like, that's it. I'm going to write an original rock song that's fun for me to sing, and I'm going to sing my keynote as a rock song from now on. So we did that, and I mean, I feel like I'm tooting my own horn, but everybody there was completely shocked that I was able to do that. They were super entertained by it. While I'm singing it to the karaoke mix. So the full song is on all the platforms now. The name of the band is Improving's Code Launch.
Okay.
Improving is our parent company that acquired us in 2019. That helps us grow this beast throughout the world. They're everything. So it's Improving His Code Launch. The name of the song is We Code You Launch. And I covered all the topics in my keynote in the song, but made it fun and rhyme and relevant, but still rock.
Yeah.
And then Benny is able to send me back a version with the lead vocal left out. The harmonies are still there, a little bit of doubles still there for extra emphasis in certain parts. And we have a small team that runs Code Launch. One of them is a creative lead. His name is CC. CC made a video, which is almost entirely generated AI of guitar rockers and drummers and space helmets and rockets. So themology of Code Launch. And it has the words so the crowd can watch just like they're at a karaoke show. But unlike a karaoke show, there's timed lighting effects. So like, there's the intro and then there's a dramatic build up and the lights go out in the whole thing. And I go around to the judges and I high five the judges. And then I come back out dramatically when the lights come on. Like, it is like being at a rock show, bro. We had 300 people there and it only holds 265 at this club. And
That's awesome.
I can't wait to do it again. I get to do it again in Guadalajara in August. And I get to do it again at the World Championship here in Dallas-Fort Worth at a club called Gillies, which holds 700 to 1,100 people.
Wow.
And then I get to keep doing it for as long as they let me do it. So
I love that idea so much. And it takes, you love karaoke, but still, you got to be bold and like, not everyone would be able to do this and pull it off and then also enjoy it. So that's awesome.
I wasn't able to do it. The first time I did it, my friends were like, dude, you got to come to karaoke. It is so much fun. And you're going to be good at this. We know you are. Listen to that song you had from the year 2000. You can do this. What's your favorite song? It took me about 4 or 5 weeks before I got up there on the mic and sang a song. And the very first time I tried one, it was way, way too hard and it was a meltdown. But then I learned to stay in my lane.
Yeah.
And my range. And I got better at it. And then I totally got over the fear part, but it took like repetitive effort. Like the first year, there was times where I was like, I don't want to sing. I just didn't feel the vibe. I was too nervous. And other times I'd be really good at it. And then I would gain confidence. So it wasn't like it was always natural. It took work.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I'm sure it did. But also I can, you're very calm now when we talk to you, but I can imagine the energy and everything you have on stage there. Like when I listened to that song, I was like, man, I wish I could be there and watch Jason do his thing, because I haven't seen you do it, but I can really imagine it just from listening to the song and from talking to you a couple of times. You're that kind of guy that can pull that off. So,
well, I'm going to get better at it, but we shot the whole thing with 4 camera angles, a B-roll.
Is it going to be on YouTube, that thing?
So the best part is something you don't even know. The very end of it, when we say the name of the song, we code, you launch 4 times. After the song dramatically ends, like cold sparks went up from the stage. And the next thing that happens is I bring Raj back out and then we lead the crowd on a sing-along. One side of the crowd does we code, the other side does you launch. And whoever's the loudest wins a free a commemorative t-shirt from the event that day. So we shot the crowd singing we code. And as soon as CC gets off vacation, because he went on vacation the next day for 10 days, because he has to work so many hard hours leading up to the show, and we have all that in the can, and I'm hoping that enough comes out of one show to actually make it what essentially will be a rock video of the song. And yeah, is it really me getting with the band, mastering my skill with instruments, working with others, and practicing and rehearsing and gigging and to earning like the right for 300 people to come watch me perform music? No, it is not that. It ain't that. It's something else though that's really cool. I still think it's artistic. It's very rewarding. It's a lot of fun. It's a business entertainment event that people come to that they really enjoy. And it really helps tech startup founders most of all. So it's good for people and it's very uplifting, positive energy type thing to come to. And so I don't think of myself as like some kind of rock star, but I do think that I found a way to blend something that I love with something else that I love. And if you come to a Code Launch show, I think that will come through.
I have no doubt. Yeah. And I love the fact that that's exactly what I was thinking is I love the fact how you can now leverage the audio skills that you acquired and the passion that you've had all these years, and you can use that for your business, and it all comes together in such a nice, beautiful, rewarding way. This is amazing. It's just also rewarding for us because we don't. It's cool to see people to enable people to record their own music and all of that, but then. Sometimes it goes beyond that. Sometimes it goes further. Like now you have these skills and now you can use them to make the shows better and to have these experiences for your founders and all of that. And who would have thought that like learning how a DAW works and like recording your drums and guitars at home would lead to something like this. So this is for us also very cool to hear and very, very rewarding that we were able to contribute to that. And just music is such a powerful thing, and I'm always surprised about all the different ways that people use these skills. And it's amazing. It's so cool, and it's not at all about becoming a rock star. Sometimes it's just about self-actualization. Following that passion that you had years ago, or then using it in other creative ways like you did. It's so powerful, so cool, so rewarding, and you're just such a good example of that. And also, again, with the limited time that you have, really, really impressive, really cool.
Well, yeah, right now I'm taking a break because I broke my finger a month ago and they told me not to play guitar.
Yeah, how is that? Like, you told me about that. It's been a while. Is it getting better?
It's getting better, but I haven't put pressure on a fretboard. And it's when I just do like that, It doesn't feel the same yet. And we'll see. I think it's going to be, if I push hard, it'll hurt. Yeah. I think it's going to be another full month before I should be messing around on fretboard. But I would say it's like how messed up it was, it's about 75% better. So
yeah.
And the hand doctor, she seemed so unconcerned about it. She was like,
oh, that's good.
Put a splint on it for a month. Don't worry about it. So I was like, okay, you're the hand doctor.
But it's gonna be back to 100% eventually, right?
I'm pretty sure. One of my friends told me it's probably going to give you a gift, and that you're going to be like this. You're going to have this new edge that no one understands, and you're going to be like, because I broke my finger.
Yeah. Who knows, man. So you're taking a break now because of that. Then next year the wedding's going to happen, so there will be a break eventually, I guess, with all the planning and everything involved. But like, what is the plan in between? Like the time you have available for music, what you want to do? Is there new music that you've already written? You want to work on? Are there new code launch things you're going to be doing, or is it this one song that you're going to use all the time? Like, what's the plan? Music plans for you?
So we're going to use the We Code You Launch song at every show for the next 2 years. We get a lot of people that come back to the show after they've been to it once. And so by the time I come back to Canada next year, which is already scheduled for August, I think 16th or something, 2026, there will be people that have been listening to that song and that came to the first show that will be there, that will really enjoy getting to see that performed live again. So I think we're going to have a 2-year run with that being the keynote song. I don't know. Yeah, there's room to add more custom music. And now that we rolled it out, Raj is a musician himself. I think ideas started turning in his head when it was his first show.
Yeah.
And he hadn't seen me perform it yet either. And I think that there's the chance that we may collaborate on some stuff. Because I think that right now he plays a concert separate from the Code Launch show about an hour before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what he's going to want to do is integrate one of his own songs in. So we may end up doing something that's out of this sort of genre that I really like, which is straightforward, hard, fun, power pop rock.
Yeah.
And so that could happen. Then over on Aught Sicks side, I haven't found a logo that I like. And I tried to hire some people off Fiverr. And then I realized I don't know, Fiverr's hit and miss. Yeah. Sometimes they do great work on the samples, but then the thing you get back is so.
Have you run a contest on 99 Designs yet? Do you know that site?
I haven't done that. But my daughter is currently, the one who always, both. They always do money for this or that. So I've got daughter number 2 currently hand drawing her idea for an Aught Sicks logo. And
that would be awesome.
She sent me a draft about 2 days ago, and I said that one right there is something I had never thought of. Go with that. Just go with it. And I'm just going to use it and then as soon as I have it, then I haven't even announced it in wins. I'm so sorry for that, Benny. I should have done that a long time ago.
It's all good.
But I thought, okay, I'll wait till I have at least 2 songs. What if I got lucky on the first song and it was great to me, but really the next one, I'm just going to run into a wall and never be able to reproduce that. Well, it's time. It's overdue. Yes. And I need to block a Saturday, 1 hour, and sit down in here and tell everybody in the community on wins that Aught Sicks is out there, and maybe we'll have a logo by then.
Please do that. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even take an hour. But just for context, people, when you're listening now, we have this coaching platform, this software that we use, and inside there are some chat channels, and one of them is the wins channel, where we always encourage people to share their releases, any wins that they have, so we can celebrate together. And I would absolutely love for you to post this in there, definitely. And as soon as we have like video footage of the show or stuff, like please do that too, because that is something that people haven't even thought of doing before. And like this is really, really cool. Okay, so new logo, but then also new music when it comes to Aught Sicks. Is it gonna be, or are you any plans to like form a band with other people? Is it just gonna be you? What's the plan for Aught Sicks?
It's just gonna be me and my friend Kevin and maybe some other collaborators that now that I see how easy it is to collaborate. Like if someone ever reaches out, says, "Hey, I want to collaborate with you," I'm going to say, "Okay,
great."
So that's just because there's just no time for anything else in my life at this point. Music was like the last puzzle piece, and it is maxed out. There's not going to be time for rehearsing, for developing new band content. It's just going to be Aught Sicks. I have an idea for a very philosophical anthem.
That's your thing, man.
Similar to stuff in the 80s, like where it's almost like futuristic, or is it the past? It's like it's kind of a rock anthem, and it's going to be more complicated. I don't know if I'm going to start that one next, or if it's 2 or 3 more. I have plenty of ideas. I just need to find the time, and my finger needs to get better.
Yeah.
Sure. I bet I'll have a new Aught Sicks song out before the Christmas holiday.
Yeah, I think you'll have that. Yeah, for sure. So how do you feel about I mean, you kind of already touched on it and said it, but like, how do you feel now about your skill level when it comes to capturing songs, working with Cubase and all of that? I bet there's a big difference in confidence and knowledge compared to like 2 or 3 years ago. Do you feel like, you also said you got faster at it? Is it like, does it seem doable for you now in a short amount of time to just get an idea out there, finish it and all that? Like, do you feel competent and confident enough to do that now regularly?
Yes, 100%. I feel completely liberated by any fear that I would have to learn something that would take too long to learn, or that I would have not enough skill to actually do what I want, and I would have to like invest an incredible amount of time developing skills. Just jumping into it with you. I mean, first we had to build the room with equipment and the right tools.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, you were like, "What DAW do you want to use?" And I said, "Benny, I want to use the DAW you use so that we can always talk shop."
Yeah.
And you say, "Okay, well then it's Cubase." I built technology products for a living since way back in the 90s. Cubase is an amazing software product.
Yeah.
It is the most bug-free, very complicated tool that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It is amazing. It is so powerful, and I've only touched the surface with it, and I can already crank out good stuff. Like the most recent thing that I learned, I didn't even understand or use the first song, was comping. I didn't understand what the lanes were for, or I jumped to the conclusion of what I thought they were for in my year 2000, experience brain, which is, oh, you just record the whole thing and you pick the one that has the least fuck ups.
Yeah.
So do it 15 or 20 times. That one's pretty close. That's the final one. Wrong. It's for picking. It's for putting the pieces together that all of them don't have
Yeah.
any mistakes, and then you end up with this great little performance of this one part. I didn't even understand what that was for until halfway through Hit the Bricks.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. I mean, that's the cost or like the downside of having not so much time is that sometimes, you could have figured it out earlier if we were in touch more, but like, yeah, it is what it is. You have only these couple of windows of time. You do the best you can. And sometimes things slip through the cracks. You don't realize that it exists until you figure it out. And then, new level unlocked.
Benny, you should be glad that you're not in my time zone, because if you were, I would be blowing you up on Saturdays and when I'm in here, like, but whenever I think, I kind of would like to ask Benny about that. I go, well, he's asleep.
Yeah, but I mean,
you could through it.
You could still do it, because sometimes especially on weekends, like that's why we even have a phone number that you can use for those situations. Like I respond on Saturdays and Sundays as well if somebody's working on those days. Depends on the time. But yeah, you can try. I mean, if it's a late night Saturday for you, I'm probably already up the next morning. I get up super early, so just try.
So I have some other ideas. Like I just got to tell you, the number one thing is that I feel completely liberated to pursue this artistic and personally rewarding hobby completely by this experience.
It's so awesome to hear, man.
And I feel totally unlimited and like fearless now. And like, so one of the things is, so far, all the music that we've produced together, it's like the writing style and the production style on my side is kind of throwback into the stuff I liked in the 80s and 90s. And it's just a hodgepodge of everything I've ever liked. And it also is limited by my skill level with guitar a little bit, because I'm a straightforward, I'm pretty good at palm muting and I'm pretty good at strumming, and that's it. Kevin Pauly does all the solos. But I think I want to, and what they come back from you, they have a modern rock feel. So there's a modern rock sheen on top of that. I do feel like maybe we're going to experiment with putting out something that actually sounds indie.
Yeah, I thought about that, and I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Or indie with nostalgic retro to the 60s, 50s equipment sound of microphones and like maybe some stand-up bass and some really twangy rockabilly. So like one of my favorite bands from the 90s here in Dallas is the Reverend Horton He. Mm-hmm. They crafted a branch of rock and roll music that's called psychobilly.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit like Johnny Cash got really into drugs and got wild.
Which he did, but like
more than he even did. And so I don't want to knock off their songs, but I like a lot of music like that, and I think I'm gonna experiment at some point with trying to make some songs that don't come out with a modern rock sheen. They come out with like a different genre kind of flavor, but it still probably will be Aught Sicks, unless it sounds so crazy it doesn't fit Aught Sicks. Maybe I have to make up a new band name for it. That's one of those. That's a fun project, right? Coming up with a band name.
Oh yeah, that one's challenging too. I'm so bad at this. I'm glad I never had to do this, but yeah. It is. But yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And also that's one of the things too I wanted to mention. What you have is super important, and that is a clear vision of what you want things to sound like. You are obviously a music fan. Like you said, you studied music in a way after like discovering the recording process and everything. You learned to listen differently to arrangements and recordings and all that. And I can just tell, because you have a clear sonic vision, which a lot of people don't have. And it's super hard to make something come out of the speakers if you don't know what people actually want. Like if you don't see the target, like it's super hard to hit it. And you were always very clear with what you wanted. And it's a normal part of the mixing process too, that there are revisions and stuff like that. Sometimes it's just, matter of taste, different perspectives. But you were always super clear about those things. You were like, I hear these drums roomy, like the Dave Grohl kind of drums or whatever, and these were too direct, give me one of those rooms. Or you will say things like, when I recorded the drums, I had this sound for this particular reason. Use more of that and less of whatever you added, which is absolutely fantastic, because I'm not about making it my record. Like, I want to make it your record, and I need your creative input and your vision for that. And you really have that. And so I'm not surprised at all by what you're saying now with the indie kind of feel or the different direction. I actually expected that to happen at some point, that you take a different turn, try something new, and I'm all for it. Like, it's, yeah, very, very cool. And it's so much easier to work with people like that compared to someone who just doesn't really know what they want and they just hope I will turn it into something, and I could go all kinds of directions with it, right? So I'd much rather have a strong artist with a strong vision and then see how we can make it happen together. So
one of the things I wanted to say is that, like, at first, when I was listening to your podcast, walking around the neighborhood in the pandemic, I found the first episode, and it was like episode 20 or 30. I was like, oh, there's a bunch more of these. And then I got on and I was like, I better go back to the beginning. I went to the beginning, and then eventually I caught up. I caught up when you were about 60, when I finally caught up to 60. And during that time, I had developed a sincere desire to do this, but about 15 different threats to it ever coming out like I want it. I'm not going to have the skill with my instrument. I'm not going to be able to actually create a new song when it comes time. My vocals, I've never been trained on vocals. I'm not gifted. No one's ever told me I'm a gifted vocalist. My vocals are going to sound terrible. I can't really play bass guitar that well. I don't have a good enough drum set. I don't have a good enough vocal. I don't know the dog. There was a big, right? I'm sure people listen to your podcast and they have all these same.
100%.
I would encourage every person that's listening to this, that's you. Have you ever seen like a surfer and the way they run into the water and just bash the wave, the first wave that hits them with the surfboard, and then they just start paddling straight into the waves?
Yeah.
That is exactly what you need to do, because you're going to be surprised by what the education, the self-recording band and Vinny and his team can give you, the technology that's available, how affordable it is, that it's going to let you figure out right away what you can do and maybe what you are going to need others for. And so for me, I have to have, if I want to have anything complicated on a guitar, I have to have a collaborator. Either that or I have to find time to go get guitar lessons. Imagine walking into the guitar lesson store and be like, hi, I'm 53 years old. I have these songs, check them out. I need to be able to play guitar solos. Like the person would be like, what?
I'm sure you wouldn't be the only one starting at this age, but yeah, probably not too many of them. Yeah. Dude, thank you for saying that, because that's really encouraging for people. And I know for a fact that a lot of people have those same fears and see those same threats. And I'm sure, Manel, you are working with a lot of artists where you have to develop them to a degree and help them find their voice, have them overcome certain fears as well in the process, where they're insecure, because Manel is doing a lot more production work than compared to me primarily mixing. And so I'm sure you have to, I know from talking through projects with you and giving you feedback as well, is that a lot of times artists get in their own way because of all of these fears and insecurities that they have. And what you just said, Jason, just, at some point, just jumping in head first is the only thing you can really do. But I'm sure, Manel, you have much more experience with that, even just because you are working in like developing artists more than just like compared to me, where I already get a finished thing sort of that I can take over the finish line. You are fighting those things much more than I do probably in the day to day.
Yeah, and I think that the most difficult thing is to like make them realize that they have something to improve or whatever, because if they don't know it, then they cannot do anything about it, So the good thing about Jason is that he knows that he cannot play the guitar to that level, so he can find a solution, which is collaborating with someone in some shape or form, or get guitar lessons and do it yourself, But if you don't know it or you don't admit it, then it's not gonna happen in any of the two ways. So.
It's the self-awareness, yeah. But also, I thought you were going to say you have to help them realize not only what they have to improve, but also realize that they have something to offer, that they actually have something special as an artist, something unique. Because I really believe that everyone, no matter how talented they are, or if they're not that talented, whatever, every artist, every musician has something unique about them that is like that you can bring out, something that you can feature that makes them unique and exciting, that will connect with someone when they listen to the music. And I think Jason is both the self-awareness about the things like that you're maybe not so good at, but then also and you're confident enough that you have cool things to offer, you have great riffs, or you have great ideas. And this is the combination. I think you have to have a certain degree of confidence and knowing that there's something you need to bring out to the world, and then also knowing where you need help from others. That's kind of the combination, I think. Yeah, I wonder where this comes from, actually, Jason, because you seem like this great balance between this awareness and being humble, but then also you are confident. And so I wonder where this comes from. Is this still from your band days? Did you ever get like great feedback on that? Or is it just who you are and you just believe that you have great stuff in you that you can turn into songs? Because most people are more insecure about their music, and it takes them a long time to even get started just because they think what they're writing isn't any good, basically.
Well, that's a great question. Might be kind of a deeper answer than you're expecting. So the first record I did way back, I got, like very positive feedback from my close group of friends. So much so that, over the last 20 years, it wouldn't be surprising at a social event for any one of them just to go and play one of those songs because I'm there and they like it. So I had some confidence there that the music, I had tapped into something it was just the beginning of something, not the end.
Mm-hmm.
And so I dwelled on it for a long time. And even though I wasn't really actively working on it with you until around 2022, I was investing time in it and mentally planning for it and building up the confidence as my children started to get closer to move out. I started to get more serious and focused. I bought this drum set in 2015. I just never gave up on it, and I knew that I was going to try it again. Now, there is a moment, I think, that everybody in the self-recording band and every other musical artist and any type of artist, there's a moment where you've got something done and you're like, oh shit, I now have to let this fly into the world, and it's permanent. It's on the record of the human record. I mean, this song is out there forever once you let it out, on the internet. And that gave me there was like a day where I had to do I really want to do this? What if I get negative feedback? What if and then, I just realized, oh man, it's just music, What is music? It's just sound that's fun that we like to listen to, and there's lots of different versions of it. Do the lyrics mean anything? Kinda, but really they're just fun to sing with the song.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when it catches in your brain and you repeat it, that makes it good. And so I don't know. There was definitely a fearful moment when I put the first one out. But it was so well received that there's no fear now. There's absolutely zero fear, except for there are some songs about not so fun topics that I kind of want to sing, and I'm a little bit reticent to put songs out on Aught Sicks that people from the professional code launch community might find hey, does that fit with our business goals? Are you doing that over here?
Mm-hmm. I get it, yeah.
And so there may be some song ideas that I wait on until the right moment. But yeah, I don't know. I just, at this point, you've helped me prove to myself that I can do this, that I'm good at it, and I'm going to get even better. There's no limits for me right now. That's the way I feel.
Cool. Man.
Except for time.
Yeah. Thanks so much for saying that. That's great, man. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the kind words. I enjoyed working with you a lot, and I hope to hear and get to work on many more of your songs. And Yeah, where can people check out Code Launch and Aught Sicks and all those things? Do you have links for us or things where you can point people to?
Yeah, Code Launch is just codelaunch.com. There's a ton of information about what it is. It helps early stage technology product based startup founders, which is like 98% of all startup founders.
Yeah.
It helps everybody through each one of our competitions, but only 6 make it to each event. And so it's the best of the best make it to the stage, but it helps everybody. It's what we call a seed accelerator in the startup and venture business. It helps the early stage founder raise pre-seed rounds and seed rounds, and sometimes Series A rounds, which are sophistication levels and represent how mature the venture is. And it entertains and brings together investors and people from the community, and it helps grow the brand of improving. So if you are a technology startup founder or you know one listening to this, no matter where you are in the world, you should check that out. We really are hoping to put together an event in Miami in 2026 that would actually allow European startups to apply. It's not final yet, so I wish it was. I could, but we're working on it. Someday that will happen one way or the other. I think someday we'll be in Asia too.
Awesome.
But that's Code Launch. And then, Aught Sicks is AUGHTSICKS. So the previous band, we decided we had to make up a label.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also me and the same guy who lives in Tulsa, Kevin. So we were both into deer hunting at the time, and we would go on an annual deer hunting trip together about that time. And his new rifle was a 30-06 caliber rifle. So we called our studio 30-06 Records.
Mm-hmm.
And since it was me and him together, I wanted to keep some homage to that. So we just spelled it in a weird way. And now it's just Aught Sicks is the band. So it's on all the platforms. Oh, I have a question since we're hanging out on the podcast.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been using DistroKid, right, to get it out there, which works great. But there's lots of cool bits that Spotify, for example, can do from the video, the little 8-second video, to album art, to more detailed text lyrics, to more detailed credits.
Yep.
It just takes a tiny bit of what I put in DistroKid, and that's all that ends up on Spotify. How do I go in there and add all the extra stuff to my songs?
So I can tell you, I don't know if you've done that already, probably
I knew it.
not. But so if I look at my DistroKid account, if you go to...
Oh, it's in DistroKid.
Yeah. There's Spotify for artists. So when you sign up with DistroKid, you get a Spotify for artists account as well, and then you can log into Spotify for artists and do a bunch of things there, like the canvas backdrop moving thing and like stuff like that in there. But things like lyrics and all that, if you go to...
I put the lyrics in DistroKid, but the lyrics are not on the Spotify song.
Yeah, we had that problem too. It sometimes takes a while. That's one thing. So the song will be out, but it takes a while for the lyrics thing to catch up. In one situation, I think we had to do it again. I don't remember actually if that was the case or if it just took a while. But I just know that where is it? DistroKid. It says something like extras or I think they call it goodies or something. So in the DistroKid menu, you can add extras and promotional stuff to your songs, and you can all the things they offer, like Google Lyrics, Instagram Lyrics. It's not just Spotify; it's also that when someone posts your song, uses your song in an Instagram story, it shows the lyrics and stuff like that. You can set up all that through DistroKid directly. But then there are some things you got to do through Spotify for artists, and I think that includes the canvas backdrop thing that moves and a couple of other things. So whatever you cannot find in DistroKid, log into your Spotify for artists and look it up there. But it should be pretty straightforward. And
Okay, yeah. So my takeaway is I'll find it in Spotify for artists, or I should dig into DistroKid.
Yeah, it's like I wish I would. I thought it was just one button that I could quickly find, but it's actually not like that. I'm going to click on it on one release here real quick to see what I can do in this single here. So if I click on this single and it says extras, yeah, you can book a bunch of extras, but there's also a lot of it included as well. But yeah, the lyrics and all of that is there. Yeah, it's all there. So if you click in DistroKid on your song or in the main menu up there, there's a promotion tab or something. If you click there, you see all the promo tools they offer. But the Spotify specific thing could be that you have to go to Spotify for Artists to check it out there. I don't remember where we did it for our stuff. It's been a while, but it's definitely doable. And what we have, if I look at mine now here, we have the synchronized lyrics, we have the normal lyrics for Google, we have the credits, we have all that, and that is set up directly through DistroKid in our case. So I see it in front of me, those checkboxes. The canvas was set up through Spotify for Artists, but the rest was done through DistroKid.
Yeah, so if we have enough footage from Canada to make a rock video for We Code You launch, we want to actually put a video on YouTube and then put the 8-second looping video on Spotify.
Yeah. Yep. Totally. Yep. Maybe look into that and then tell me what, if you can't find it, maybe you can just shoot me a message and then we can troubleshoot, or you can show me what you see when you log in there, and then I'll be able to help you, I think, because I've done it a couple of times and it has always worked out in the end. So
I'll do that. So, yeah. Biddy, do you think you can mix a song that is not so modern rock? Because I know it's your thing.
Absolutely. I've done a lot of these, actually. Like, it's always what the song calls for. So as long as it's some kind of band music. I mean, right now I'm even doing some pop stuff just because I enjoy doing other things after 20 years of punk rock and hardcore, or 15 years. But as long as it's like under the rock umbrella, I feel really super confident, and everything else is like maybe outside of my comfort zone, but I love doing it still. But like that stuff you mentioned, the psychobilly stuff, I know that pretty well, actually. Yeah, and also indie, and you can. I don't know if you've ever listened through my long Spotify playlist of all the songs that I've mixed. Not all of them, but like hundreds of them. I'm sure you find some other stuff in there.
I recently discovered the Self-Recording Band playlist.
Yep.
And I put it on my
That's the community playlist, though, right?
Oh yeah, that's community playlist. You're talking about something else?
Yeah, I mean, my own reel on Spotify, like, it's called Mixed by Benedictine. It has, I don't know, 150 songs or so on there, in different genres. A lot of it is heavy, whatever, punk rock, indie rock, alternative rock, modern rock, whatever you want to call it. But I think very different aesthetics and styles. So
okay, I'll check that out.
Cool.
I will check
all right.
that out.
So I'll put all of these things in the show notes so that people can find this, and the links to your music, the links to Code Launch, and all of that. I want to thank you again for your time and for coming on as a guest here. This was a very different and very, very interesting episode for me, and I think it's going to be encouraging for a lot of people. I know that you are not the only one in a situation like that, with like limited time and all of that. I know that it will help people overcome some of the fears that they have and some of the mental blocks they might be encountering. And so thank you for sharing all of that. That was really, really cool.
Man, you're welcome. And I'm just so glad I found you and that you created this for the worldwide community to stumble on when they are looking for a solution. And, you know, if the pandemic hadn't happened, I don't know if I would have found you.
Yeah, true.
So, you know, I don't think I'm thankful for the pandemic, but I'm thankful that I found you.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. No, of course. All right. So, Manel, also, thank you for being with us here today, as always. And thank you for watching and listening to this. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.